Hello everyone, welcome to another drawing session. Today we're going to do a 10-minute session with somewhat of a slightly different model than usual. We're going to have a more senior model, and it's part of a pack that I will link in the description. You can buy it off of ArtStation, of course, as always. I'm not affiliated to any of the people who make these packs, by the way. I just wanted to disclose that but I feel like it's just fair. I mean, I draw using their photos, so I will always mention them. So if you're interested in buying the full pack, which is big and very nice, contains lots of cool poses and photos, and I really like the model actually in this, so I can highly recommend getting this. The only really thing that I have somewhat of a problem with, and it's part of this pack, is the fact that the lighting is not always super clear. So you can see here, for example, that there's a very strong rim light, and also there's a very strong, let's say, main light from the top, and there's also sometimes a light from the rim light from the other side. You can see in the shadows here, there's like a lot of shadows. So there's also obviously a lot of different light sources. It looks like it's at least 3. And for the way that I usually draw, that's not really ideal, because I usually just draw one light source and then I kind of try to simplify it as much as possible. But regardless, I really like this pack, so I will, even though the lighting isn't super duper clear for all of these, I still think it's going to be fun to mess around with it. So let's try it out. And also, before we start, small introduction here. I just want to make sure that everyone sort of knows kind of what I'm doing in case you want to follow along and draw in a similar way. In this case, I will be trying to really simplify the lighting structure of this. So you can see here, I'm just gonna outline really these shapes. And what's really good is to focus really on the shape appeal and try to come up with interesting ways to abstract these forms without really going too crazy with the details. So you don't want to be drawing every single crevice. You kind of want to still simplify these, but you also want to figure out where exactly am I putting the transition for this shadow. Like, where am I putting the line? Because sometimes the shadow, like in the case of the belly here, you can see it's soft. So you kind of have to decide where you're putting the lighting. But I mean, this is something I always explain in the videos, so I'm gonna just cut it short now. There's other videos I've made where I talk a bit more in depth about this if you're interested. But yeah, for now that's it. I'm just gonna start, and as I said, I'm gonna ignore the rim light as well. I'm just going to pretend like this is all like a big blob of shadow. Same for the other side, or like the fact that here there's some light. I'm going to ignore all of that. Yeah, also another thing that you might want to keep in mind is the timer. So if you're drawing with 10 minutes, you kind of want to know what exactly you're able to draw within 10 minutes. So you don't want to, make the mistake of starting like super detailed and drawing all the information, and then when the timer reaches like 3 minutes, you only like drew the face. So unless your goal is to do portrait, of course, but in that case, probably this is not really the right reference. So you kind of want to keep track of the time and make sure that you work around how much time you have. So 10 minutes, you know how much information you can draw, and then you keep that in mind. You be mindful about that, and I think that's important. And yeah, last thing is just have fun. I mean, at the end of the day, we're really doing this for practice. There's no real purpose to doing studies other than to improve, to get better, to experiment, to have fun drawing, at a time where you can AI generate basically any fucking perfect drawing, whatever you want, that is completely soulless. I think it's good to get back into this very bare bones type of drawing. So, analog on paper with a pen, it's good. I think it's fun. So let's do it. Let's practice some fundamentals. And I'm gonna also drink a beer. I think, sometimes it's fun to drink while you draw, have a bit of a sip. So cheers to everyone here. All right, so let's get started. Grab your pens and whatever pencils you're using. I'll be using, in this case, a brush pen, pretty standard brush pen, except that it's pink, very dark pink. And then for the shadows, I'm gonna use an acrylic brush, which a coworker of mine actually mentioned to me, and I started messing around with them a little bit, see if it's something that I can kind of include in my own workflow, and actually I really enjoyed them, so let's do it. Okay, so let's start with the first pose. I'll be using this to make sure that I don't bend the paper too much with my sweaty hands, because Berlin right now is like 1,000,000 degrees. And let's start. Pose number 1 is going to be this one. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, 1 minute left. I'm actually gonna have to start filling in the shadows before it's too late. And there's time. I'm gonna really quickly finish coloring in though, even though the timer already went by. Okay, and there we have it. I actually kind of underestimated how much time it would take to color in the shadows with this brush, because I kind of have to be careful not to smudge too much the brush pen underneath, so it's a bit trickier than I thought, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna have to take a little bit of extra time to fill in the shadows, and I'll chop up the video so it's not as noticeable. But anyways, here we have it. Pose number 1 done. Let's move on to pose number 2. This should be a bit quicker because it's just a back shot, so there's not as much information, but again, a few things to keep in mind. Maybe it's nice to talk about them before we start, is focusing on some of these nice triangles. Triangles are always good to draw. Triangles are a great shape. A lot of nice sort of triangular shapes going on here, a lot here. So I really liked this pose because of that. But yeah, I think it can be fun to try and focus on these shapes. And yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of beer again. Be right back. All right, let's get started. 3, 2, 1, go. So I can already tell I kind of made this arm way too long, but it's okay. I'll try to make sure it doesn't turn out too bad here. So clearly I fucked up a few parts of this. The feet are not very well aligned and yeah, the arm is too long. Whatever, you know, we do what we can. Just color it in. Hopefully it won't be too noticeable. There we have it. I'm gonna finish up really quick again. Okay, so that was pose number 2. Let's move on to pose number 3, and which is this one. And let's not forget to take a sip of our drink. Very important. Very good. I'm actually going to try and draw these next 2 poses a little bit smaller because I really struggled with the overlap here, and I would like to avoid that. Also because these next 2 poses are a little bit wider, and there's a cube as well. So let's try. I'm gonna try to make them maybe more like this size, but let's see. Before we start with this pose, a couple things to note here that are of interest, perhaps, is first of all this very nice gesture line here, very sort of nice curve that approximates the pose well, so it can be good. Also, like this leg here it has a very clean curve, and also we have once again a tiny speckle of light here. This is pretty interesting in my opinion. Again, I would personally abstract this into a triangle, but of course you can do whatever you want. And what else? I mean, yeah, the cube itself, there's this nice cast shadow of the arm onto the cube, which could be interesting to play around with. And yeah, other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. So let's try to do this one now, another 10 minutes, and I wish you all good luck. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm actually not even gonna draw this whole gesture line, I think. I'll try to imply it. So it's a bit of a challenge, of course, because it is very useful as a guideline, but I think it might look cool to just not have that. The leg is definitely too short, but whatever. Okay, I'm gonna try fill it in now. There we have it. I'm gonna finish again. Okay. Not as strong of a pose as the other ones, but it was definitely a bit more tricky, right? There was a lot more depth, a lot more interaction. The cube definitely complicated things a little bit, at least in my opinion. Also, there is something that I don't like in my pose, and that's that. So I try to not put too much information in the shadows, but you can see here the way the arm kind of totally blends in to the belly, and I don't like that, so I'm gonna add at least a hint. Like that, so it shows a little bit of overlap. Admittedly, the proportions are not perfect here, but it is what it is. So yeah, take a drink again. I like that this guy looks like he's giving you a thumbs up. I just realized that. Alright, and now we move on to the last pose, which is going to be this one. I think this is also an interesting pose. The thing that I really like about this one is, first of all, there's a bit of an imbalance. On the left side, it's very straight. And on the right side, you have a lot of, sorry, the opposite. On the right side, it's very straight. On the left side, there's a lot of angles. And I also particularly like some of the shadows that are present here. For example, again, notice the triangle here. But not only that, I mean, even on above here, you have a nice shoulder showing through, and then you have some nice forearm muscles. Here you have, again, kind of a triangle showing through. And yeah, a lot of cool overlaps between, you know, because the arm is in front here. So these are some of the things that we want to keep in mind. Also, the face is kind of a nice angle here. There's maybe some good abstractions there can be done. I'm struggling a bit with the faces here, to be fair, but I guess in 10 minutes also you don't really want to put too much information there. The only issue that I have with this pose is that the lighting right now is not very clear. So for example, this whole leg might be shadow, the way that I'm looking at this, and also the question becomes like, is this really lit by the main light source? I think so. So if this is the continuation of that shadow, I would basically make this whole leg kind of lit, and maybe this part is lit too, something like that. I'm not sure. But it's the kind of thing we'll figure out as we go on, and as we work out these sort of different shapes. So yeah, one advantage of it being so straight on the right side is that I can really easily fit it, because I'm just gonna push it just as much as possible on the right side of the page, and hopefully it's gonna fit okay without too much overlap with this other pose. So let's hope and pray that that's the case, and let's get started. Wait, I need another sip. Okay, yeah, let's get started. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, the head is completely in the wrong spot here somehow. I think I fudged something up really bad, but it's okay. It's always the case. All right, I'm gonna fill it in. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to his neck, to be honest. But he looks a bit fucked. So his legs feel very short. Whatever. Fill it all in like we originally planned. Even though it doesn't really... I don't know, maybe it looks not so bad actually when you fill it all in. There's the cast shadow on the arm. Here we have it as well with the timer. Gonna finish it up again really quick. Damn, it's so nice to use this brush and being able to go over some of these spots that I already colored in with the brush pen. This is kind of like amazing. It's really easy to cover up mistakes like this. So I gotta be honest, I'm really liking these acrylic brushes here. So they really let you clean up stuff very easily. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I think they turned out alright. I really like this combination. I actually think the first one is the one that I like the most. I really like the way that these light spots here turned out on the belly. But I think all of them have actually some parts that I like. So, and the pink with the pink shadows on the darker pink brush. I don't know, I really like this combination a lot. So I'm happy to have tried this. And yeah, hopefully you had a good session as well. Let me know if you did or if you didn't, if you hated this, if you liked this. And if you have any suggestions for what I should do next, or if you have any, requests or whatever, or any good reference packs that you want to suggest, or any mediums you would like me to try, or whatever it is. I'm not guaranteeing that I'm gonna try stuff out, but of course it's always nice to have some input. And yeah, again, check the description if you want some more references. So you can buy this pack to find all of them. And check out my other drawing videos if you're interested. There's some tutorials, but there's also a lot of other drawing sessions if you want to practice some more. And feel free to subscribe. So catch you in the next one. And bye-bye.